Good afternoon. Welcome back. And picking it up today, where we're going to be starting is completing these collections. So, Skyscale of Spirit, we went and talked to Amaranda down in Venland Vale and opened this up. And now, what we need to do is open up Skyscale of Fear so that we can complete those two egg collections and get started on the next phase of saving Skyscales. I believe this has a 2 hour kind of cooldown on it. Like, that's going to force us to take a little bit of a break, force us to wait for a little bit. So as a result, I want to get these two knocked out as quickly as possible so that we can start that 2 hour timer. And then during that 2 hour period of time, I will be looking to um, take care of the trade contracts. If necessary, there's a doppelganger starting in about 2 hours. We know that'll give us 100 trade contracts. So if we have to, at 3 o'clock, we can head over for doppelganger and try and catch one. Unrelated to all that, this is like a really interesting thing that I would love to see them either do more with in the future, or would have liked to have seen them do more already. So this is like a guild of NPCs, right? So Modus Scalaris is this guild. Here's their guild flag. They do sometimes appear in other parts of the map, and you can actually engage them in like combat and stuff. I don't think you can here. Oh, well, Briga apparently we can. Why not? Let's do it. Wait a minute. Oh, 5 silver. Silly, silly. We're not going to do that right now. Maybe another time. But it is an interesting thing where, like, guild initiate, like, they're joining the guild. Apparently, these two yahoos. Uh, I would love to see a little bit more about that and see what this guild is all about. And see them impact the game in some way. Like that'd be kind of fun and interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. Stuff like this is a compelling argument. Look at that. What is it? What is this? Some kind of like Lovecraftian Cthulhu sort of thing back here? Like, what's going on? Um, Imagine, and I don't want to hear the guild hall thing because like that's guild halls are for guilds. Do I have my own guild hall specifically for my main account? I do, but what's the point? Like, it doesn't really function well as personal housing. Like, I've tried to use it for that. It's extremely difficult. It's not friendly to use that way. Imagine stuff like this for personal housing, and it could work exactly like a guild hall. Just make the prices, the process of upgrading it and the cost of upgrading it and doing different things with it, like more individual friendly. But these might be examples of things like this super wild thing over here. Um, this could be like genuinely an example of something that would require like significant effort to get. Maybe that would be a rare drop or super rare drop from a strike mission, or something that you buy with strike currency or something like that. Um, that'd be amazing. But I don't know what unless there's like a. So is this supposed to be Palawa Joko killing Saitan? I think so. Maybe these are things that he's claimed to have accomplished, but didn't. So is this then supposed to be like Mordermoth? Maybe that's supposed to be Mordermoth. You're gonna have a hard time selling that is. Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to be Balthazar. They might just be like cool images. Okay, that's 100%. Well, is this supposed to be Destiny's Edge? Ritlock? Logan? No, 'cause that looks like a female Asura. I don't think that really works, and none of that works for air. Unless that's Kaith and that's air. But then that's still, I have a hard time with that being Snaf. Maybe, though. Maybe. And they're real keen on Palawa here. What an interesting thing. I'd never noticed that before. But yeah, I would love, love, love a housing system. And I'm not sure what ArenaNet's aversion to that is unless it's a technological issue. So, Vabi is super interesting, actually. Um, it I don't know if it's my favorite map in Pathfire to actually play through from a gameplay perspective. Um, it's certainly not my least favorite. My least favorite map in every way is Desolation here. Very little of the story takes place in Desolation. Like, you go directly from, Sunspear Insurrection over here to a fight all the way down here to now you're no longer in the Desolation. Like all the flavor, at least in the story, is just absent. Um, so not a fan of that. What makes Vabi so interesting is
here's your next lesson.
Well, okay, there we go. What's interesting about Vabi is, sorry, I get so easily distracted. It really, like, what they set up here, and I don't get me wrong, I'm not in love with, like, when the studio puts forth, like, some kind of effort to, like, make political statements. It almost always feels, like, very painful, and I think that's probably true of, like, a lot of gaming studios, and like, because they try to be slick about it. Like, if you have something to say it. You know, if you have a position on a geopolitical event, or you have a position on, like, a human rights thing or whatever, man, just say it. Like, that's fine. Put a thing in the gem store that I can wear to show my support for that cause, and I'll buy it, and I'll, you know, run around with a little flag or whatever, and like, everyone's happy with that. But what Vabi is pretty cool about, and I don't feel like it comes off as preachy, and I don't even know. I don't think they were trying to make a statement with this. I think they just looked at places in the world where this happens and modeled Vabi after that, and it ends up being an interesting observation in terms of, like, a kind of authoritarian state, and how control of information works, and, you know, monopolization of perception, monopolization of information, you know, the whole, like, autocrat thing. So you can, like, I think the thing I hear Vabi get compared to most often is North Korea, and I think that's a really good parallel, where you have a population who's, like, from the outside. I mean, I would think that even other, like, autocratic hermit states, or if not hermit states, because there aren't a lot of those. Like, North Korea is really kind of the only one of those. But, you know, other places where you see the government retain incredible control over perceptions and information, you know, Russia, Iran, whatever the case may be, even they must look at North Korea and kind of be blown away that the people are willing to buy some of the things that they're being told. And I think that's what we see here. Is, again, I don't think it was necessarily 100% intentional on ArenaNet's part, because usually when they try to do something like that, or it appears they try to do something like that, it feels like really, really heavy-handed. I think when modeling this, they just looked at an example, and maybe North Korea was that example. I don't know, but it ends up very much with that feel, and I think it's a really interesting thing. And in that sense, I kind of find it enjoyable. Like, it's kind of fun for me. Okay, so Jahai Bluffs is not that far from here. Alright, Spirit's done. Alright, it's time to fight a chicken. Where's the chicken? There's a chicken. So eventually these chickens will get really pissed about me attacking them, and they'll fight me. Alright, now they want to fight me. What's up, buddy?
You're back, and the egg appears no worse for wear.
We wait, yeah, so this will be that 2-hour wait.
Straight away.
Yeah, I love the return to thing. I think that was, you know, of the things that like ArenaNet's done well and the things they haven't done well, I thought that was way, way over on the done well spectrum. I thought that was a great decision. I thought it was executed well. I thought the rewards for it were like really, really appropriate. I had no problems with them giving away a precursor. Oh, I forgot to get the little whistle. A precursor as part of that. In fact, I think it was a really good idea. So almost everything they did with that, I thought was awesome. But on my main account, I had done like 1 million map completions before Heart of Thorns ever launched. So it, you know, because there was a lot less to do in the game at that point in time. Those map completions are gonna carry me through many legendary weapons going forward on that account. So then I turned around and had to do map completion on her account for Bifrost for her, and having not done it in a long time, and kind of having forgotten like what that was all about, that was a rough experience. Yeah, I think that's what it would have to look like, is a lot like the return to achievements. And you know, that day may come, because I think, you know, if a couple years before the return to achievements happened, if you had told people like, hey, you know, you'll have the opportunity to get a precursor by playing a bunch of story, I think people would think you're crazy, right? And yet that's exactly what happened. If I had to guess, I would speculate that for something like that, they probably have some internal, you know, internal benchmarks. Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? For what they want to see before they would go down a road where they made it things like super, super accessible like that. And those benchmarks might be that, you know, legendary armor has become common enough that XYZ, you know, a certain percentage of the player base already has it. Or it might be that the benchmark is so few people are doing certain content anymore that now we need to find another mechanism for legendary armor. And I think that's why strike missions were so important, is because I think they had already met some negative benchmarks in terms of raids. They realized that whether it's the Guild Wars 2 community in general, or it's the lack of, you know, the lack of cadence in terms of them presenting new raid wings, so few people were raiding that they needed to figure something else out. And I think that's where strikes came from. You know, certain aspects of the game are pretty accessible even to folks who really aren't very good, because I do not consider myself very good at the game at all. So what level is this? Level 47. You know, that's exactly what I'm trying to demonstrate here. It's a level 47 Fractal, so a high tier 2, being played by a filthy skill clicker with less than 100 hours on his account. And I think people don't realize that it is that accessible. But to your point, oh yeah, I got it on this account. Thank you. Yes, there are a ton of players who, you know, only do open world and story, and is what this. So I guess here's the question I would ask in regards to that: is what they need legendary armor, or is what they need their own prestige item? Because that's really, if you're only playing open world and story, is there a demand for you? You know, like are you going to use legendary armor, or is it the fact that this game mode also deserves that kind of attention? Um, I think that would be my question. Like that would be the center of the conversation there. Because I do think that story and open world do have their own prestige items, including that cape from Icebrood Saga, which is, from what I understand, brutal to get. I have not gone through that process. I'm not into the capes, to be honest. But I would say that probably compares fairly well to a single piece of legendary armor in terms of prestige. Or maybe even a couple pieces. Alright, so we're going to wrap it up here for today. Ultimately, I just could not bring myself to wait for Gorik the entire time. So when we pick up tomorrow, Gorik will be done with his current research and analysis, whatever he's got going on over here with the Skyscale egg. And we'll be ready to move forward with the next phase of Skyscale. So we are inching along on that. And I believe... I don't have the wiki in front of me, but I think we're getting close to like Skyscale snacks and playing games with Skyscale and so forth. So, which is also where we'll come across the gold sink associated with Skyscale, is buying like the whistle and the ball and the blanket. So we got those things coming up here in the near future. What did we accomplish today? Well, we finished the Skyscale egg stuff to bring us up to that point with Gorik. We finished the trade contracts. So we're now at 501, which is there now. It can be seen. 501, so just enough that we know we're going to be good there. And we did a few more fractals, raised our personal fractal level even a little bit higher, and generated a little bit more gold. So we're pretty confident that we've reached our goals there. So all said, pretty happy with the day. Definitely enjoyed having someone to kind of talk to for a little bit. We discussed legendary armor, some other stuff like that. The return to achievements. It was nice to have someone to hang out with for a while. So, really had a satisfying day. Looking forward to picking it up again tomorrow. Hope everyone has a good night, and I will talk to you soon.